Hello, everybody. AMG Hobby Talk Podcast. We are back this week. I want to say chock full of a couple of different things. We're going to go in a couple of different categories, and we're going to get an in-depth breakdown of some Pokemon. Sherry's going to share and drop some knowledge on us on this one, so we're going to have some fun with it. So let me go around the horn here. First, Blair, how are you today?
I am dandy.
Wow, dandy. Fantastic. Glorious. Steve, collector of the scalps, collector of the people, collector of things.
I am very excited to be here this morning because it should be a nice, easy day for me.
There you go. There you go. We'll get you to work a little bit off the top, but you already know that's coming, so we'll definitely touch on that here. Sherry, how are you today?
I am so fabulous.
Wow, fantastic. Well, you know who else is fabulous? We got a lovely picture. So we've got not one today. You're getting bonus, not bonus player, but this time you're getting two visits to Steve here in our little showcase here of pictures and images. But the first one is actually going to come via Steve here. Steve, go ahead. Set yourself up. You got a picture ready.
I just wanted to say happy 23rd birthday to my son, Broden. And I thought this was the best picture to show us in our element.
That's awesome.
Well done.
Happy birthday.
Well done. There you go. Happy birthday.
Happy
So perfectly done.
He's down
So
in
I'm going to
Kentucky.
shift over. Yeah.
Probably warmer down there than here.
Oh, probably. So what I'll do here is I'm going to start off. Actually, I'm going to skip a couple pictures ahead because this one will touch on Steve. So this one actually was shared a little while ago. I think I saw it on the social media, but I thought it was such a good picture. I wanted to share it before we moved on. So this was actually a little display that was done for Steve's pick. What really sold it for me is our crap could be your crap. Let me tell you. That's marketing 101 right there. I just appreciated it. We got the CFL stuff going on there. And like I said, it's not a new picture. It's a little bit older, but I did come across it and I had it archived here. And I just thought I would include. See, Steve, also a marketing guru. Few people know. Our crap could be your crap. If that doesn't sell you, I don't know what will. So I wanted to make sure I covered that.
That's some nice crap.
There you go. Exactly. So, all right, let's talk about two events that we had. So first we had the trade night, and then we also had the card show. So starting off with trade night, here I got a nice little collage. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to drop the side. I should be able to hide the sidebar for you. There you go. Makes it a little bit bigger. So we've got a nice little collage of images. There's a lot going on here. So anyone who wants to give me a little bit rundown, how was your experience with trade night? On the second collage, we're going to have a couple of Blair appearances as well. So first I'm going to show the first one, and then anybody wants to share any thoughts or memories or stories from trade night, please. Now's the time.
Yeah, no, trade night was awesome. It was also the release day of Paldean Faith. So it was a very Pokemon heavy evening. Lots and lots of new faces, which was really great to see. Not much hockey action going on. It was kind of surprising, but it was really nice to see the Pokemon community really coming out and getting together.
Very nice.
Yeah,
very nice.
No, I agree. It was actually a fun atmosphere, I must say. Not to shine off anything on the hockey or sports collectors, but it seemed like a lot of new, young. It was. I looked around a couple of times and up by the orange couch, there was a group of like 7 or 8 people just busting the ETBs and having a great time. And some people were set up in the back attic area too. And it was a fun atmosphere, I must say. It was surprising. Like you said, a lot of new faces. So it was a fun night.
Good stuff. So as I went through, like I said, we put a little collage together of a bunch of the different pictures that I was provided. So at the two bottom images there, we got Blair and his element helping out a couple of folks. And even here, and this is why I say, like, I got to make sure I instruct him correctly. I see Blair with a phone.
Yeah.
Blair, phone. You know what you can do with phone? Videos and pictures, Blair. Videos and pictures on the phone. So now I know. There's no excuse because look, right there.
That's me. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes,
He's
it
doing
is.
a video. It was a couple of our regular customers doing some box breaks. And it was a fun time, especially watching Blair do his videos. And then on the other side there, you have our wheeling and dealing. One of our number one customers doing a deal with Blair.
Very nice.
This little guy, he sandbagged me all evening. I don't know what I did, but I think the store's out easy $100.
There you
go. He's actually a fun kid. He comes in and he's got he's got some cards ready to go. He wants me to buy them and trade or get some fresh packs. So he's up to the challenge for sure.
We've already talked about the sneakiness of the kids.
Yes.
So you got
He's the one.
He's the ringleader.
All right, so now we're going to get into a little what I'll call the Pokemon corner. So Shari, here it is. It is your time to shine. This is where you're going to drop the knowledge on us because we're relying on you. So first, I'm going to start off with a favorite of mine. I'll start off with that one. First, we got the old cheese string 'em on. Like it's important. These are important things. We got to make sure we got to make sure we at least address and touch on it briefly. All right. Second one here. So this one, when Blair sent it to me, I believe my exact reply was, "Well, it looks fancy. I don't know anything about it, but it looks very fancy." So Shari, can you help me out beyond fancy?
Yeah, no, this is from the new set Paldean Fate. So this is one of the special illustration rares, one of the top cards to get. There's probably, I'm going to say 5 to 7 that are more popular than others, but I believe this one was pulled by actually one of the kids. It was one of the first ones pulled. Blair might be able to speak more on that part, but yeah, no, it's such a nice looking card. And you can't even get the full effect of the art on this card in the photo, but it's really nice.
Yeah, it was pulled by a family. They come in quite often buying, purchasing Pokemon. So I just heard a little commotion and I kind of looked over and then I went over to see, and sure enough, they had pulled the Charizard. So early sales, like it's pretty strong. I was just having a quick peek, so there's some sales of upwards of almost 200 US for that card. So it's pretty strong right out of the gate.
Very good, very good.
Yeah,
great card to read.
So you can get a little bit of sneak preview. You can see kind of in the corner what's going on there. So here's our second appearance of Steve in the show. Now he's holding some boxes here. So Shari, this will be where I'm going to lean on you. And I've got the close-ups of the boxes. So first we got Steve holding the boxes there in the shop. By the way, also a nice shot of the back of the shop there. So the image works on levels. We got that. Plus you get a little more of the collector, the people, collector, the scalp. So a little bonus there. But so you're holding 2 boxes. And what I can see there is you got Pokemon and you got like a Super Mario thing going on here. Obviously, when you combine these 2 kind of IPs, it's a big deal. And from what I understand, it's quite the find. But I don't know too much about it. So can you give us a little background on what this is?
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Carlos. I know nothing about this product. So this nice gentleman walked in with he had his newborn with me. I don't know if that's part of the sales pitch or not, but I couldn't say no. But yeah, he just showed me these 2 interesting Pokemon boxes. I didn't even really get excited about them because, again, I'm not a Pokemon guy. But he told me they were quite valuable, and so then when I looked them up online and saw what they were selling for, I was in shock. And they were quite expensive. I'm not that familiar with this product. Very good guy that was willing to work with me. He allowed us to consign the product for him. So he'll be happy to know that we were able to move this product for him. So he stepped up and said, I have more important things to take care of with the newborn. So he was willing to let this product go. The amazing thing was when he bought it in 2016, he paid less than $100 for it. So I will pass it over to Shari so she can tell you what the heck it is, because I still don't know.
Yeah, so this came out exclusively through the Japan Pokemon Center back in October 2016. It was basically Nintendo did a mix of the 2 top franchises, Pokemon and Super Mario. So they came out with that, like Steve said, it was selling for under $100. It was limited quantities, only available online through the Japan Center, and it kind of took a little back seat from there. And then in the last couple of years, kind of came about. It's a very rare box. There's not many out there to get. If you do find it in a raw card, so the items inside, the Mario Pikachus and the Luigi Pikachus in the green box, if you do come across those in raw form, there's a pretty good chance they might not have true authenticity to them, just because those cards that were pulled, they were pretty well graded right away. So you definitely want to be careful of that. But to see this come into the store, it's definitely rare. So then in the box, you have the box, the sleeves, the 2 promo cards. So in the red box would be the Mario Pikachus, 1 full art, 1 hollow. They are actually, I just did a little check on them this morning. So the full art was average sale price recently was around $8,000 for a PSA 10. So anywhere between 7,000 to 8,000 mark is where that one has been selling. The Mario Pikachu, the 293 card, that one's about in the 2,500 range. So this box has been selling, I think, between the 2,000 and 3,000 range. It was previously as well. So a lot of people, if they get their hands on this box, they're going to open it to send those cards in and be great at. Then kind of the same deal with the green box, the Luigi and the Pikachu. The full art was going for about 4,800 as a PSA 10. There's the 2 promo cards in that as well. And then the other one around 1,500. But very scarce, rare to come by, but really nice looking cards.
Nice. No, it's perfect.
And-
So that's why we leaned on Shari on this one to drop the knowledge a little bit, because obviously we got the 2 boxes, but we don't know what the difference is. So I'm not familiar with it at all. But it's good to know there is a differentiator between what's the contents of one box.
And Kyle, another side note to that as well. The buyer of them, he's familiar with them. He said it's one of the most faked products because it's worth so much money. Yeah. So it just so happened that Brad was flying to Toronto on business over the weekend. And our buyer, who's from the States, he knew a Pokemon guy in Toronto. So again, the consignor allowed us to take the boxes all the way to Toronto to have them authenticated to finalize the deal. So again, it's nice that the consignor was able to trust us and work with us to have these boxes authenticated. And I understand the buyer too. Before you fork over that kind of money, you want to make sure that the item's legit. So yeah, everything, all the stars were in alignment on this, and I'm looking forward to paying this gentleman.
Yeah.
Very good. Blair, go ahead. I think you wanted to chime in.
Oh,
there.
sorry. No, just a side note. I don't like talking about things that I haven't seen or whatever, but I guess it just generated a little chatter in store too with, I was chatting with a couple of Pokemon people and explaining what I had. So one of our customers, somebody who knows a guy, but it's a friend of his that apparently has a couple of these cards and is thinking about great now. Like Shari said, back to that story, you think they would have graded them by now, but some people are a little leery, like to hang on to the cards and stuff. But so a couple of these cards may be coming through the shop to get graded, but we'll have to wait and see.
And I think I've seen there's a couple sales on the pair going anywhere from 12 to 14,000 for the pair, because there is the 2 promos in each one. Like I said, the green is the Luigi Pikachu, and then the red box is the Mario Pikachu. So they are nice looking cards.
Yeah,
very good. But I think to that point though, I do know a lot of collectors, not in Pokemon per se, but even in like vintage and things like that, where they have something where it's nice condition. And they know that it is valuable, but they don't really have a sense of it. Like they know in the abstract that it has value, obviously because it's a nicer card or a more premium card or whatever the case may be. But they've had it in their collection for a long time. Like this case would be a little bit different because this is more recent product, relatively speaking. But a lot of people just don't know. They might know, like I said, in the abstract that it has value and everything, but their thought doesn't immediately go to like, oh well, if you grade it and grades out very well, then it puts a multiplier on that value, because it also makes people who would be willing to shell out the big dollars more comfortable, especially given what you said about the counterfeiting, about there being fakes and things like that. So if somebody's going to shell out big money, if the box is sealed and they're comfortable with the seal, that's one thing. But if it's a single and it's just sitting in a top loader, then they're really going to have to scrutinize it very carefully, because there's a comfort level when you're shelling out big dollars. And the bigger the transaction, the more the person is going to want comfort, assurances, whatever can be offered. And that's where that can come into play.
I was just going to ask Steve, actually. This is Steve's next door, but I got a question for him. Did the gentleman who brought these in, did he know what they were selling for? Did he know some of the...
Oh, absolutely, because, again, they weren't overly impressive to me because I didn't know what they were. And something from 2016 coming from the vintage world, I had no idea that, something that new could be so valuable. So, no, he knew what he had.
Okay.
And, but it was one of those things, he just never knew how to sell it. And now, of course, with his newborn, he decided now was the time, and I can respect that.
Yep.
Yeah. And just to kind of touch, we're talking about authentic items and such, kind of plays into the card show over the weekend with Pokemon. I had made my way around to just about every table at the show, and especially seeing a lot of younger kids at the tables with Pokemon cards. There was probably 3 or 4 tables that I had to stop and give some advice on items because the cards were not real. We've been seeing this a lot more often lately with kids getting cards from Amazon or wherever they might be coming from. And it's really easy to tell very quickly that card is not real. So just be wary of any cards from Amazon that you might be looking at. You can pretty well tell if they're darker, the vibrancy of the item is not there, and if there's some lines going straight vertically down, it kind of looks like the hollow, but it's not. So I just kind of want to make a note on that for the kids to just watch when you're trying to sell or trade or buy, to double check those cards.
Yeah, we've had a few, myself and Steve for sure, we've dealt with a few people that have come in with little binders and we're going through and, they want to sell a few. And we've highlighted a few cards in people's binders that are definitely fake. And like Shari said, they are pretty easy to tell because they don't look,
most of the time.
There's some big differences. So yeah. Come to the store and get your Pokemon.
Well done by you. But you can kind of playing into what I said earlier, though. So now you can see that I once I saw the images and everything, I go, no, we're entering right into Shari's wheelhouse here. Be able to drop the knowledge. This is the time. Y'all were ready. Now you know.
Yeah.
All right. So now we're going to go through a couple of other cards here. So we got a couple of UFC cards here from Immaculate, which has been kind of a fun product that we've been able to feature a couple different times here. So we've got here a dual autograph. Again, I go back to what I said earlier. I would love for these to have been on card. I think it would have added a little something. With the design, it would have looked a little better. These stickers kind of stick out like a sore thumb a little bit on this type of design. But nonetheless, it is a cool card to have for the various fighters if you're into it. So this one's out of 25 here. We've got Glover Teixeira, who I'm familiar with. The other one right now, not so much because I'm not quite up on my UFC. Go ahead.
Nice pronunciation on that one.
I think it's close. Because I am familiar with this fighter. Now, this one I'm not familiar with, this one, but I do love the fact that it's a glove card. I think that's kind of neat as far as a memorabilia piece. So they've got gloves. This one's numbered to 8. Even though, like I said, it's a small image of the fighter, if you're going to have a memorabilia piece this large, it's kind of what you expect from Immaculate, but a pretty cool looking piece. And I love the fact that we were able to get the UFC on there as part of the glove. So I think that's a nice addition there. And then we finalize here with 2 tickets from the Olympics of Barcelona. Steve, do you want to lay out a little bit of what's going on here?
Yeah, so we've had these for a little while, again on consignment, and we didn't really market them a whole lot lately, but recently we did put them on eBay, and the interest really spiked. And I like proving people wrong. I had some people come in and say, well, it's only a PSA 1, or there's probably lots of those out there. And the proof is in the pudding. There's actually only 6 of these that have ever been graded. So they're extremely rare. And of course, it's the dream team. And the size of the ticket. So you would have been over in Barcelona with your game ticket. And when you go into the game, now what do you do with it? So of the 18,000 or so at the game, how many of these, are still around or made it back to North America? But anyway, yesterday we sold them for $12,000. So I'm right, you're wrong. But anyway, no, it's really neat when you sit back and think about it. It was definitely a momentous team that will go down in history. And like I said, just the size of the ticket probably makes it a really scarce item. So once we started getting a little aggressive with promoting them a little bit, lots of offers came in and stuff like that. And again, it's all about the consignor. So he's thrilled, and he had no idea until we kind of, told him, man, this is something special. So yeah, he's quite pleased as well.
Excellent. So a nice variety. I did kind of lead, I was actually doing on the last week's live stream on my channel and then on the podcast, which is already just dropped a couple minutes ago. What's funny is I mentioned specifically this episode was going to have a nice variety of stuff. So now those of you who are watching the episode, I wasn't lying. There was a nice variety. I got a chance to see some of these images ahead of time before we shared them. So we definitely got a nice mix of different things. All right. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to move into a couple of specific pieces. Let me talk about a couple of products that are coming into the shop, and we'll talk about one that we'll talk at more length next week, but we'll at least give you a little bit of ahead of time, and we'll give credit to the Hockey Cards Gongshow for doing a little breakdown. That'll come into play. So first of all, Credentials Hockey is going to be coming into the store, and there's also Moon Knight if you're into the comic character. So Credentials is kind of an interesting one because some of the inserts and things, you'll have to check out some of the images. Usually we'll be able to do the Cardboard Connections one, but I did mention to the team that they're kind of working out their own things a little bit, so I won't be able to provide that for you. But you can Google, look up 2023 Upper Deck Credentials Hockey. There are certain inserts that they do include in there. It is an interesting product. It's one of those ones where I think if you're a player collector or a team collector, there are some nice cards there that can definitely be interesting. They utilize a little technology. So maybe we'll touch on it a little bit next week when we talk about OPC as well. So, but nonetheless, that'll be coming into the store this week. So those are two things to note as far as that portion of it is concerned. Now, in addition, the other thing I want to do here is I'll read a couple of comments from last week's episode. So like I said, if you guys include comments or questions in there, I'll read some of them, not all of them, but so we'll touch on a few. So first one was David Mercer. First time tuning in, really enjoyed it. Excellent. Good to hear that you enjoyed it. Next one here. Good to hear from Brady. So we had that in there from last week's episode where there was an appearance indirectly off screen. So we had that in there. And then Top Pocket Finds here included a little background on Holly Holm because like I said, I was going from memory on it, but included a little bit more on Holly Holm here. Holly Holm was a 2-division decorated boxing champion, which is true. I'd forgotten it's been a little while, but 2-division boxing champion, even before she dismantled Ronda and won the championship, she's considered one of the best female boxers to ever do it. So she already had a successful career in boxing prior to going into MMA, and then she did win the championship in UFC and was a perennial contender beyond that. So a good call out in addition to it, but adding a little piece into that UFC side of things. As I said, if you guys include comments or questions, you're more than welcome to, and that's a good way of reaching. And if you have a direct question, though, that's a little more time sensitive, I do mention it, and I'll scroll it across the bottom of the screen here. Always reach out to the social medias or go to the website directly because then you'll be able to get a quicker response. We do check out the comments, but you'll get a quicker response if you go through these avenues. We want to make sure we include that. Now, I'm going to share this one with you because, as I mentioned, it is something that will be coming up here in more discussion next week. 2023, 2024 OPC. Thankfully, we're in the current day. We're doing the whole back and forth thing with Upper Deck here. We're going backwards and forwards in time. So return to present day here. This upcoming product here is going to have quite a stack of Conor Bard cards. 34 unique cards. Again, credit to Hockey Cards Gongshow for this infographic here, helping out. But I'll go through a couple of these. Marquee Rookies 10 Parallels, Retro Rookie, Marquee Rookies, 3D Marquee Rookies, OPC Premier, OPC Platinum Previews, because of course, OPC Platinum Previews, you got to have that, Wood Variants, and Top Rookie Bounties. So they're definitely stacking. Now we're starting to get some of the Conor Bard avalanche that we were waiting on. We were anticipating. It's we were just waiting for the products to start coming out. So I think this will be the first one that really starts hitting, and we're going to start getting some Conor Bard cards. And I think we're going to get a better sense of what that market's going to start to look like, because up until this point, there had been cards, but not in this kind of volume in one product, and not, Chicago Blackhawks, fully vested into the Conor Bard universe. So we'll definitely, it'll be interesting to see how people react to this. Even though it's so peachy, it's not the highest end product. Right now, we just don't have that many options. So Steve, you kind of get what I'm saying with this one is that we've had some Conor Bard, and it's done, some of the cards have done extremely well, but we just haven't had that much, regardless, high, medium, or low end. So this will be like a first opportunity to get a lot of different potential stuff.
Yeah, I think it will sell well too. I just looked up to see what few places are pre-selling it for. So it's a good option for those that won't want to take on the high dollar issues, but you can still get a nice Bedard in this set. So I think it's going to be something for everyone with the Bedard product coming out. So this is definitely an awesome entry level set to put together with some nice Bedard rookies in it.
Absolutely. Perfect. And as I said, I'll include a link to that post from Hockey Cards Gongshow. Again, the infographic is very helpful. It was nice to be able to see it that way, and it allows you to break it down. So for those of you waiting on some Conor Bard cards, this will be your first real opportunity to get a nice mass of stuff to chase if that's your desire. So that'll be interesting. We'll touch on OPC a little bit more next week. We'll do a little bit of breakdown ourselves and see if we can add a little more information, especially since it'll be closer to coming out. So let's kind of wind down on this one. We did touch on it briefly. We talked about the trade night, showed the collage. Shari mentioned a little bit about the card show and that element of it, and some of the, she was going around the tables and seeing some of the Pokemon cards, dropping some Pokemon knowledge. We had some of that going on in this episode. But curious, tell me a little bit about how the card show went, because this was the first one in the new venue and everything. So how was that?
Yeah, it was fantastic. I think we had about 300 people through the door. So it's one of the higher count shows that we've had, but it is at the new location. The venue is really great, spacious, lots of parking. Everybody really seemed to enjoy it, which was nice. So we will be there for 2024 going forward. The future dates will be announced as they become available.
Excellent, excellent. Now, Steve or Blair, did either one of you get a chance to hang out a little bit at the card show as well? I'm just curious about your experiences in it.
I wasn't allowed to go to the show. I had to come to the store and open. So maybe someday. Someday I'll get there.
I was allowed to go, and I did. I'm kind of regretting it because it's so there was a lot of I didn't get involved in the setup at the breakdown. It's a little bit more labor intensive, this site, but no, like Shari said, it was a great venue. You got to talk to a lot of the vendors there who I know most of. They're really positive back from that, liked it open, liked the setup. There was a lot of stuff there, some new faces, some old faces, a lot of sports and Pokemon. It seemed to go over really well, and Shari said well attended. Just positive all around, I think. Glad to have another show. I think that's a big thing. People were really excited to have one because we hadn't had one.
Definitely.
All right. So wind you guys down on this one. So Shari and Blair. So since you were at the show, did you see anything that caught your eye that you thought was interesting? Because a lot of times when you go through showcases, sometimes you'll see something that maybe surprises you. It can be a surprise for whatever reason, but anything that caught your eye or surprised you.
I got a few pickups, but there was definitely a lot more Pokemon this time around, and a lot of great options and a lot of great prices. I do collect Mew and Mewtwo, so I think I snagged 3 or 4 different ones that I didn't have, which was great to be able to pick them up from somebody locally and do a nice deal there. And what else was there? Oh, well, Blair had his display. That was a nice display that he had. Not for sale.
I wasn't going to bring that up, but yeah.
Well, now it's been brought up, Blair. So now you're on the hook. Sorry.
Well, everybody knows I found my 1911 Vesna, so I decided last minute to bring the set and just display it, not to, just to let people see it, I guess, because I figure you don't see them a lot, and maybe in Toronto or something. But I just, if you don't let people see older things like that, because like we see it a lot. People come into the store and they want the new shiny, and they don't understand or see these older things. So from 1911, I just displayed that and let people see it. So I got quite a few people asking about it. Some people knew what it was, and went around. Yeah, there was quite a bit. Even though one of our big vintage dealers wasn't at the show this time, I saw some graded. Thought about picking some up, but I didn't. I was a good boy. But some 1951 Parker's cards that were there, and some other vintage sports. So yeah.
I think it's fair. I think it's good. It's good when a show has a nice mix, because it was funny. I missed Brad this weekend. We were trying to see if we could coordinate because there was a CSC show in Toronto. I wasn't able to make that happen, but I was there for a couple hours. It was a lot of fun to see a show. I think you would have enjoyed it, Sherry, because they've very much. So you had your show going on there. What they've done very much is they've tried to combine all the different elements of it, and the cosplayers. There were a lot of cosplayers, but they also had a video game tournament, card tournaments. The Pokemon TCG presence was strong. There was definitely a ton of that, but there was still a good complement of sports cards. There was still a good complement. But what's funny is usually I go to that show. I don't normally find too much for my collection. Once in a blue moon, I'll find some stuff here and there. Sometimes I find some stuff, honestly, that'll just flip on eBay or whatever that I'm going to do with my purposes. But in this case, I ended up making only one purchase. I bought a 1953 Topps Whitey Ford card. So it was not exactly what I went in there to get, but I saw it and the price was right and the card was good. So I thought I was able to come up with a good deal with him. And it's not a set that I'm quote unquote working on, but it's kind of in my pipeline. So I have a checklist of those ones that as I scratch them off, when I get over to it, then I'll have my checklist ready to go. But you never know what you're going to find. I like sometimes going to a show with an open mind and I don't have a preconceived notion of what I expected. I bring a little money and we'll see what happens. And in that case, I came out of it with vintage card where I wasn't necessarily going in there to specifically look for one. Never know.
Oh, that's awesome.
Perfect. So I think we'll call that as an episode. It's a good one. As I mentioned before, I'll repeat it again. Folks, if you do check this out, number one, like button. Second, we do appreciate the influx of subscribers. More of those. We're getting closer. We're at 225. We're getting closer to 250. So we need to keep bumping that up. But we're getting closer. Yeah, we're getting closer to it. We're getting closer. The other piece of the element is that we'd also love to get, if you've got any ideas for things you'd like to hear about or know about, things that are happening in the store, or a little bit of knowledge or information if you want to understand a little bit more about how some of the things are done. Steve talked about a couple of times here about consignments. Well, we can always touch on the topic of like, okay, so a consignment comes in. How is that arranged? What does that look like? A little bit of background. Those are the kinds of things, a little insight that can be given. Or you can ask, Blair, more information about museum quality displays, or, setting up with these things, pointing at the Vesna and then being like, what the heck is that? Or you could ask him about all the Pokemon. And that should be very entertaining. I think that'd be wonderful. I think those are the kinds of questions that we need to make sure we bring here. So with that said, more episodes coming up as we go forward. We're definitely starting to get now the influx of products. So with that OPC, now you see that we're starting to get the Conor Bard stuff is starting to creep in. And I think that's going to make for a very interesting couple of months here as more products are starting to come out, as we're getting closer and closer to Series 2. Because when we get to Series 2, it's going to get really interesting really fast, and business is going to pick up from that sense. So we'll definitely get more into that. But I want to thank you, Sherry, Blair, Steve, for joining me. This is another episode of the AMG Hobby Talk. Thank you very much, and we will catch you in the next one.